Hello, everyone. I think I'm able to start the live. This is Oz Konar here. If you are seeing this, give me a yes in the chat so we can start our Q&A session on the biggest opportunity of 2024. So I'm just going to stop my audio, but let's do an audio and video check. I know we're a couple of minutes early, so I'm going to give this a couple of minutes. If you're in the chat, if you see this, give me a hi, give me a yes to confirm that you can see me and hear me. I know with live, there's usually with a live, there's usually like a quick delay. Akonisha, yes. Coco, yes. Outream, yes. Marie, all right. That means we're live. Yay. Yeah, believe it or not, guys, it's been oh gosh, year and a half, maybe like 15 months since I've done a YouTube live. I have done an actual live through Zoom last week, but we have a pretty big, sizable audience on YouTube. So I wanted to pretty much have an open conversation and answering your questions, because when we look at like who's watching my YouTube videos, it's a mix of existing BLB students, people who are in the program. Others, a second segment is people who know about like business loan brokerage, but they don't really have a full grasp. Maybe they have their questions, doubts, whatever. And the third group who has no idea like what's going on, right? So that's why I wanted to have like an open microphone as much as possible and answer your questions on how the business model itself works, what kind of funding options, what kind of deals you can actually fund. Can you fund yourself and things like that? So we get hundreds of emails on a daily basis, and my team, we do our best to kind of answer emails and filter through them. But nothing replaces a live interaction with you guys. So I just wanted to go live and answer those questions. So let me just quickly check my system to make sure that everything is good. Okay. $25.60. It says there's a problem with my resolution, so I am going to be changing that. As you join, guys, give me a yes if you can see me, hear me okay. So we do an audio check. All right, it seemed to be okay. Can you guys still see me and hear me, please? Lee, what's up? Bridget, cool. All right, guys, let's get started. We have a few people on the call. I did an email notification last minute. I think you got the email 30 minutes ago if you were on my email list. If not, obviously, if you're following me on YouTube, you must have gotten notification because you are on the channel. So let's get started. I am the founder of a company called Business Lending Blueprint. My name is Oz Konar. Over the years, we built a very successful company, training company, and also a lending company, helping people find customers who are looking for money and helping them get access to capital. And by doing so, you pretty much generate a transaction, and that transaction pays you, right? That's the essence of business loan brokerage. It's not a new concept. It's an age-old concept. So back in the day, Charles Schwab's and people who kind of are considered the founders of the banking system, they started out loaning money to the U.S. government because U.S. government needed money, and that built the foundation for the current banking system. And then banks started popping up because there were individual people with massive wealth, and they wanted to turn it into a system. Like U.S. is built on a debt-based system, right? So U.S. government currently, the national debt is like trillions of dollars. And what happened is it gave a lot of leverage to the banks, and banks started also funding small businesses because the country, we live in a capitalistic system. The United States is the best country to start a business, and a lot of that is propelled through a credit system, right? So U.S. created the credit system through credit cards, funding, and banks. And fast forward to 2008, the system almost collapsed, right? There was a real estate bubble. And then, a lot of the banks got in trouble. Many people lost their jobs. Many mortgage companies went out of business. what had happened is the funding that the small business universe needed in the United States was not there anymore. All the major banks and even community banks restricted their funding to a point that they didn't provide any funding for the most part, right? And government grants were slowed down, and that could be the end of basically a U.S. system if you stop that. So around that time, there were a couple of companies who were funding businesses, small businesses, based on their revenue. Because bank funding is pretty attractive if you check a lot of the boxes. If you're like a mid-sized business, you're very well established, you've been in business for 4 or 5 years, you have employees, you have a bank account with them, you have money in there, you have collateral. So they're really, really picky when it comes to who they lend money to. But the alternative lending industry started booming since 2008 because all these small businesses, and which makes up like 70% of the entire US economy, they're the ones who needs the most money. And the problem with providing capital to them from a bank's perspective is that they need to do a lot of due diligence. They want to make sure that a lot of the banks are publicly owned. So they want to make sure they don't incur a lot of bad debt, right? So they want to give money, but they really cannot. So then the alternative lenders started funding money to small businesses. And small business, has been growing really exponentially over the years. And with the new administration, the Trump administration, whether you like him or hate him, 2025 creates a unique opportunity. We're going to see a massive boom in new businesses and also existing businesses. And on top of that, baby boomers are aging, and they have a lot of businesses that it needs to change hands. So whenever they're trying to sell a business, someone wants to buy a business, there's a lot of funding that is happening right now. And that's what we built our business on, basically, right? So we noticed that, there are lenders in the industry who have a lot of money to give to these companies, lend to these companies, small businesses, but there are not enough business loan brokers. So I started this industry back in 2014. That's when I funded my first deal. And then immediately I noticed that something is very broken in the alternative lending industry. They were basically generating leads by calling thousands of people every single day. There's no filter mechanism. You're kind of brute forcing yourself, dialing people. And I come from a marketing background. I come from biology and chemistry, but I always had a marketing mind, and I studied marketing, figured out email marketing, paid advertising, and all that stuff to replace this process of generating leads by calling people. And since then, got into the business, helped a couple of the alternative lending companies scale through paid advertising. But I noticed that there's a huge market of people like you who want to get into the business, but there's not enough information in the marketplace about becoming a business loan broker. And that was the start of me doing like one-on-one training with people. Then we noticed that the demand is even bigger, and those people started funding deals, and that created a flywheel effect of them bringing more customers, and the word got out. And then we created the business lending blueprint system. And in its essence, it's a training system that gives you access to the lenders, the marketing, lead generation tools, all the collateral that you need. Then we noticed that there's a huge market of people who are job holders. They don't necessarily want to quit their job and start a business, but they want to make side income, right? This is one of the relatively easier businesses to do that without buying inventory and whatnot. And then that currently we are about 7,000 business loan brokers, and every single day our team handles 40 to 50 calls of people who wants to understand this business model. And our YouTube channel has grown to, like, as you can see, 40, 50,000 subscribers. So I noticed that I'm not doing enough of these lives to get in front of you guys and answer your questions. So we hear the questions on our end from the emails, but YouTube is a different platform, obviously. So if you do have any questions, that feel free. Again, this is a Q&A. I'm not here to pitch you anything. I'm not going to sell you anything. This is for me to answer the questions that are top of the mind. It could be that you don't understand industry. It could be you understand industry. You understand what we do, but we have further questions. So let's start with Lee Edward. Just trying to get an understanding of what this is all about. Yeah, this is about creating a career for yourself as a business loan broker, whether you want to do it on the side as a part-time, or you want to become full-on business loan broker to replace your current job, whatever else is going on. Or there are a lot of people who actually add funding to their existing business, right? So they start and they add fund. They already deal with small businesses or other companies, and they're leaving a lot of money on the table by not offering funding solutions, from startup funding to credit repair to small business funding to real estate investing and things like that. So those are the things that I can cover and answer your questions. Just feel free to use the chat to start asking questions. But I see a couple of people here. If you can let me know where you're joining from and how you found out about us, that would be great. Koanisha, Coco, yeah, where are you all guys from? I know we have audience mostly in United States and Canada, but I see some overseas people too. Jonathan, do you have any recommended lead companies at this time? I'm interested in paid leads. Jonathan, you have actually a lot of options when it comes to lead generation. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to answer that question first. Koanisha is from Dallas, Texas. Jonathan from Georgia. Ice from Detroit. We have California. Marie from South Florida, Chicago, Texas. We have a bunch of Texans. That's awesome. I'm in New Jersey. We used to have an office in New York City before pandemic. Right before pandemic, I decided that it's a waste of money to have an actual office in New York, and we went virtual. But then pandemic exploded, obviously, so it ended up being a good decision for that purpose. Okay, who else? So then let me go back to Jonathan's question. Any recommendation for lead companies at this time? Jonathan, I have two thoughts on that one. I don't recommend you buy leads. There are a lot of companies who basically they buy data, bulk data, and then they sell it in little chunks to other people. That requires you to get the data, so-called leads, but it's going to require you to call them, follow up with them, and you need to have like 15, 16 touch points. So it is very challenging. So as far as lead companies that you say you're interested in paid leads, it is best to set your own system. For example, within BLB, we provide the templates, and you have an AI-based system that helps you set up your ads and run it. Or we provide assistance on running it on your behalf. But I highly suggest that you have your own paid leads option, right? So you can generate leads. One of the least expensive ways to generate leads is through Facebook and Instagram. Especially on Facebook, the lead quality will be determined by how often you reach out to them. That's why if you have like an AI-driven system that calls them, text messages them, that's the technology we provide to our members. But yeah, so usually what we see on Facebook is that if you get the ads up and running, the ROAS on the ads is 4 to 6 times. For those of you who might not have a marketing degree, ROAS is return on ad spend. That means that for every dollar that you spend, how much do you make back in return, right? So that's why alternative lending is very lucrative, because at the end of the day, it's not complicated, guys. You're selling money. So the companies who scale the paid ads, usually they're seeing 4 to 6 times ROAS. So that means they're putting $1 from on the front end, and they're turning it into $4, $5, $6. So that means that you can start slow, generate a few leads. Usually the cost per lead is anywhere from $2 to $10, depending on the quality of the lead. So with that math, if you're generating 5 leads a day, averaging $5, that's like $25. So that's less than $1,000 a month in ad spend, which gives you a lot of leads to work with to start out with. So you don't have to buy leads. So I don't recommend buying leads unless there's a system where they generate the leads through paid advertising and hand it off to you, and you have exclusivity, because a lot of the leads that companies sell it's being sold to like 10 other businesses, and that's why you're just competing with other people on old leads, basically. Let's see. Marie's from South Florida. Coco is Chicago. Bridget, Spring, Texas. Paul, Denver, Colorado. Miss Crossgrove, good evening. Hello. How do you learn to underwrite deals and negotiate terms? So those are two separate questions. That's a great question. I don't think anyone needs to learn how to underwrite the deal. Underwriting goes through underwriting department, right? So for most products, it's pretty straightforward. Unlike mortgage industry or insurance industry, you're not dealing with hundreds of pages. All you need is like 3-4 months of bank statements, and then you're sending it over to the underwriting department. What they're trying to understand is they're trying to read the statement to find out if there's any room for funding and what is the likelihood of that person paying it back, right? Because most lending options in alternative lending industry is non-collateralized, meaning that when you get a loan from the bank, you put a collateral in case you fail to pay for it. They can go after your business truck or your home and whatnot. In alternative lending decision is based on the current revenue and the future revenue that you have. That's very, very important. So I don't suggest anyone trying to learn the underwriting process, but what is important to learn is when you get an offer from the underwriting table. For example, we launched BLB Network. BLB Network is our funding company, basically. So over the past 15 days, we funded over $400,000. What our brokers do is they bring the deals to us. We underwrite it. We give them the offer. They go back to the client and basically tell the client, hey, Mr. Client, you needed $45,000 to buy a new fridge. Here are the terms. If you're interested in this, we can lock it in today. And usually funding takes place in 1 to 2 days, believe it or not. That's why it makes it lucrative, and it's also very fast. So think about, let's say you're making money selling real estate. The average transaction could be 90 days, right? If you're a small business banker, for you to sell a loan and make money could be weeks, sometimes if not months. In our industry, you're dealing with small businesses who usually need money fast. Sometimes fast means like they need it within 24 hours. Sometimes they need long-term funding, like 24 months, 36 months. They can okay the deal at like, a week or so. So we have all of those options. But yeah, I don't suggest anyone trying to understand the underwriting unless you're trying to be the underwriter, right? I'm always about dealing with high leverage activities. Like high leverage activity is learning how to find people who need money and bring it to the lenders, because lenders are the people who have the money. They just want to give it to the businesses. That's how they make money, right? Because they're making money off of their money. So basically, they have a bunch of money sitting around from hedge funds, individual investors, and whatnot, and then they want to invest it and they want to make money that way, right? So understanding how underwriting works, I don't recommend you get into it, but understanding how to present an offer when you get an offer is super important. That's why recently we released what's called a cash flow quadrant. So there are like 4 quadrants, and one of them is for people who really either do not want to understand the whole loan brokerage, or they don't have time, or they just want to refer deals and earn, like an affiliate partnership, right? You have access to people, you're good at finding people, maybe you have a large network, and then you send deals to people. You can get somebody's name, email, and phone number, hand it over to our funding partners, and they can call, follow up, close the deal. You get your cut. Obviously, you don't get paid 100% of the deal because all you did was give name and email and phone number. So that could be a side business that makes 5, 6, 7K a month for you if you keep generating leads and sending it over. And lead generation, unlike other industries, is relatively easier because at the end of the day, your pool of people who will need money is in tens of millions of people, right? So there are like 34 million small businesses, 17,000 is registering every single day to start a new business. That's just a lot of stuff. It's not like starting like an e-commerce business and competing on the best product that you can find in the market. We don't really care what business they start, right? And we don't really care what they do with the money too, for the most part. So the second part of your question, Scott, is like, that's important, like learning how to present the deal. But as a part of the cash flow quadrant, the third part is if you get somebody's name and email and phone number, you get paid a little bit of money. If you get their bank statements and submit the deal, like actual proper submission of the deal, you get paid a lot more. And then as time goes by, once you do a couple of these deals and you get into the rhythm and the flow, then you become a full-time business loan broker and you can present the deals. Sometimes you want to present the deals because maybe the person that you're providing funding to could be a family member, someone that you're really close with. Maybe you won't really need a lot of sales skills. They already trust you, and you put an offer on the table, they'll take from you. So things like that will make a lot of difference. That will help you make the full income. So when you become a business loan broker and present the deal and close it, the average transaction is anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000. So if you follow this channel, we release a lot of videos, and I send a lot of emails with proof of our members and how much they generate for the deals that are funded. So I don't really talk about hypothetical stuff. I give general numbers based on what we see in our community, right? So, recently I sent a couple of emails literally from our Facebook channel, Facebook group within our community of the individual people who funded deals and how much they earned and all that stuff. So can you do that without Business Lending Blueprint? Yeah, you can do that. You can become a business loan broker, but obviously you got to be okay with the learning curve, understanding how everything works, right? So let me just get back to the chat. Chingu, State of Washington. Ozzy, what's up? Wisconsin. Sabrina, Georgia. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Aaron, hello from Chicago. Oz, what can I do to get more leads in my lending business? You can do a lot of things. If you tell me what you're doing right now, I can help you break it down so we can talk about it. So again, this is a Q&A, guys. I'm here to answer your questions. If you're just joining, the goal is here to inform you guys about the alternative lending industry. 2025 will be a record year. And we see it in the funding deals, the department that we see like from our funded deals and the deals that our partner, like real estate funding is going great. Startup funding is going great. Small businesses are, it's going to explode. I just don't want you guys to be left out because you don't know enough. You don't have to do it, but at least be aware of the industry and what's going on in this industry. Going back to Scott. Scott, I live in Fresno. I'll be getting your course next month, hopefully, but right now I'm currently homeless and in a shelter, but we'll be getting your course. I appreciate you even considering, Scott. I pray for you. I hope everything goes well. I can't imagine how difficult that situation would be, but you're still like very hopeful. You're trying to make it work. You have my full support and respect, man. I really appreciate it. Try to learn as much as possible through the free content. Don't put yourself in a situation that it can strain your finances, right? Again, the purpose of this call is not to just have a bunch of you guys join BLB. We have hundreds of calls that we go through every single month. But if you're informed, then you're going to make an informed decision. If you're not informed, a lot of times people look at something, either they don't understand it enough or they don't put enough time into it. So that's how you end up in the dealing with like a negative opportunity cost, right? So there's a cost for missing out on opportunities. The question I always ask our students is that, all right, so you have a place that you want to get to, right? If you're on this call tonight at 8 o'clock in Eastern Standard Time, I'm guessing that there is something you want to change. So the question is, if you stay the current course that you're on right now, do you see yourself getting to that goal, right? If you do, awesome. That this could be a nice information session. But if you do not, what do you think you need to do, right? So my philosophy in life is I want to learn from other people's mistakes because life is too short. Like at most, we're going to live like 60, 70, 80 years if all goes well, right? So I don't have enough time to learn from my own mistakes, and I still make a lot of mistakes. That's a part of life, but it's very, very important to follow a proven method. For example, I'm flying to Vegas tomorrow because I'm invited to a after party of other business owners. And these are people who are net worth are really high. Why am I doing that? Can I not work from home and just say that, hey, I'm doing fine anyways? Is that okay? No. When I go there, I know that I'm going to be meeting people who are at a different level, and I would have access to not only their customers, their knowledge base. I'll learn from what they tried last year, 2024. I'll be able to share my experiences. It is like taking a shortcut, right? So that's what matters at the end of the day. So if the plan that you're on, if you can foresee that it's going to get you to where you want to go, awesome. But for most people, first of all, they don't even have a plan. So their plan is to hopefully everything goes well, and hopefully the inflation doesn't go up. Hopefully the president is a good president. Hopefully we don't have to wait for another election and things like that. It's a lot of hoping going on and not a lot of planning. And when there's a lot, and also some people have the planning, but they have a problem with the execution of the plan. That's a lot more difficult to accomplish, right? Most people don't have a plan, and those who have a plan, they have difficulty executing it because they need someone who's going to hold them accountable. That's just human nature, right? So when things are going bad, we want to solve a solution, but when things get slightly better, we kind of tend to forget what was going bad before and kind of fall back into the same place of comfort, right? Comfort is the enemy of growth. If you're super comfortable, that means you're not open to growing unless you're already reached the level of that comfort that you're not looking to do more. And I'm guessing that's really not the case for most people. So my question to you is, since you're live on this call, what are you trying to get out of our time together? Like, what's been bugging you? It could be like trying to increase your income, trying to quit your job. What are you trying to accomplish? If you had a magic wand and found the opportunity of a lifetime that you can invest your time, resources, and whatnot, what would that look like, and what are you trying to accomplish, right? At the end of the day, I know many people tell me that they want to make more money, they want to have the time freedom, they want to spend more time with the kids. We have a lot of single moms in our community who are just tired of having 2-3 jobs. They're looking for a better vehicle, basically, right? I don't think anyone who's on this call would be lazy, right? It's not a matter of being lazy. It's just spending your time on a high leverage opportunity versus low leverage opportunity. For example, a job, I never demonize a job, but is that really a high leverage activity? Like, you're basically selling your time for a certain hourly rate based on how much the market values your hourly rate, right? Simple as that. So Yvonne says, yes. Coming in late was the cost. I'm going to go through all of that again, urban hair essentials. So currently we're still talking about the business idea itself. We have people from Anita from Alabama. Yes, I'm here. Thank you, Jason. Welcome, buddy. Good to have you here. Hey, Oz. Ope. Hey, Oz, how do I get my own company website using my own domain? Also, can I have clients who are based in Canada? Yes, Canada is growing in funding. You can get your own company domain and website. So, for example, within BLB, you're not an affiliate of BLB. We actually give you your own website, like fully built, mobile-friendly, modern website that is lead generation friendly. It's been tested with tens of thousands of dollars, and we know that it converts. So you get your own company, you build your own company, and you get your own domain name, so you own all the assets. Ray, what's up, buddy? Ray says, I'm listening and watching it. Does this make sense so far, guys? Can I get a yes if this is making sense so far? I'm not trying to call out anyone, but I just want to make sure that you guys understand that this is only February, and before we know, it's going to be the end of the year. And then if we don't have a clear idea of where we're going, we're not going to go far from where we are right now. Crossgrow says, totally agree. We have someone from Oklahoma, Wacone, Detroit. Awesome. Kwanisha, yeah, you made a great point. Become informative to invest time and money that will provide income for me to provide for myself and my children. That's a very clear goal, right? So I have 2 kids. One is 8, the other one is 6. And every day, my main concern is, as parents, like, what kind of future can we provide to them? How can we help them understand so they have an easier time going through life? Because life is not fair, guys, right? So it's not designed to be fair. There's a lot going on. Sometimes, you deal with stuff that you never anticipated would happen to you. And then one of the easier ways to handle life's problems is solving the money problem. I know money is not everything. I'm not saying sell your soul for money, but it is one of the bigger problems that we deal with every day. In fact, most of us spend most of our time doing things just to generate more income, right? Rushan says you're doing it to fund your business. That's a great idea. Autrian says accountant looking to transition to entrepreneurship for more time freedom. Autrian, we deal with a lot of accountants. I don't know if you're like an active small business accountant. Many accountants have small business customers. Others, they're starting out, but they want to add more options for their customers because, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're an accountant, people come to you for your expert opinion because you went to school for it, you got a degree, and then you're advising people on what to do and how to file taxes and things like that. And then at the end, a lot of small businesses, what's top of mind for you is top of mind for them. They're sometimes struggling to make more money, or there's an opportunity cost, right? They're going to miss out on an opportunity unless they make the investment, and they need funding. So it's very parallel to to what we do in lending. So when I sign up a lot of accountants when I was doing this actively. My question to them was, hey, when people come to you for advice on where to get funding, what do you do? And all the accountants unanimously would say that I would just tell them to go to the bank and they would have a banking relationship. I'm like, okay, good. That's a sound advice. And how does it go? They all say horrible. Because banks, they have difficulty funding deals, but I don't have any other option. And my offer to them was always great. What if we do all the work for you, meaning that you refer the clients to us? Here's my cell phone number. You can call them. If you have a small business client who owns a trucking company, a construction company, a paving company, a window company, a plumber, there's like hundreds of different industries who need money. I can be your money guy. Like send it over to me. I'll talk to them. And then on the back end, some of them would accept the offer of like a partnership, so you pay a certain percentage of the profits. Others wouldn't really want that. But yeah, so if you're an accountant and if you're not adding lending to your accounting portfolio, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. So I'm getting a couple of yeses. Good. Nathan says, love from Tampa, Florida. What's up, Nathan? I'll be in Orlando at the end of this month for an AI conference. So yeah, last year I attended 9 conferences. Again, just to add, it takes a lot of investment, obviously, fly out, spend time, and I have a company to run. I have multiple companies. BL Barnes says, it makes sense, amen. Yep. Bridget, yes. Daryl says, sound great. Plano, Texas. Richard from Oregon. Oh, we have so many people. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to go through some of the questions. I'm sorry, we have a lot of questions, so I just want to read everybody's comments out of respect. What are the, Coco, you have a great question. What are the primary types of lending offerings we can present to small businesses? That's a great offer. So we'll start from small to large, meaning that the bare minimum you can do for a small business that generates income for you and solves a big problem for them, all the way up to providing large sums of capital to them, right? The immediate thing you can do for them is most small businesses do not have strong credit score, like personal credit score, right? So, for example, within BLB, we have credit repair companies. They just refer them over. You don't have to understand how to fix their credit. It's a relatively straightforward process, but we have companies, so you can help them fix their credit. Not only it solves a big problem for them, now they're more fundable, meaning that if someone is a high personal credit, they're going to get access to capital for a lower interest rate, right? That's what happens. When you go buy a car, what determines your monthly payment is obviously the cost of the car, but the finance charge on top of that. And how much finance charge they charge is the prime, whatever the going rate is, and how much risk you pose for them. If your credit score is 580, they might just decline you and you might need a cosigner. Whereas if your credit score is 780, your odds of getting the car for the best interest rate goes up tremendously, right? So that's like one of the first products that you can offer to small businesses. The other option is the business line of credit. So for example, there are community banks. We have a bunch of bank-backed products where you can help someone get access to a line of credit. So this is I'm going to explain what a line of credit is. This is great for businesses who've been around for a few years, 2 years, 3 years, and usually when they're going through a business, they might not need immediate capital infusion, but if they get approved for a line of credit, let's say of $150,000, it is approved. It is there. When they need it, they don't need to go through the approval process again. They can draw on that amount. And every time that happens, you get paid as Coco's business, funding business, right? That's another option. And these usually come with longer term payback options. So it could be 1 year, 2 years, 4 years, 5 years. The other option is the SBA funding, Small Business Administration, government backed, right? Government offers different funding options, different tiers of SBA lending. So you can do that. Again, guys, I don't want to make it sound complicated. I'm answering Coco's question on the different funding options. You don't have to know all of that. It's just there's a variety of ways that you can generate income by becoming a business loan broker, and all of them can be on a referral basis, or you can just master the process and go full-on business loan broker. So going back to what I was saying, SBA funding, right? The government-backed funding. Another funding option is equipment leasing. It's a $2 trillion, the secret hidden industry. When you think about small businesses, I'm sure that you know some small businesses. Actually, give me a 1 if you know small businesses. Someone who either started a business recently or they are already in business. One of the things that they buy is equipment. Let's think of a dental office, right? A lot of what they do is based on equipment, right? They buy machines, they buy chair, they buy got a perch, disposable and permanent equipment and things like that. All of that can be financed. Think of a restaurant. They can have a walk-in closet. They have fridge. Think of a software company. They buy software. Software is an equipment too. All of that can be financed. Yeah, Oz, but why wouldn't they just put it on a credit card and buy it? Sure, great question. But if the equipment, let's say you need to buy another truck to grow your trucking fleet, and you know that as a trucking company, if you added one more truck, it would add another $50K to your income. Would you not want to buy another truck? Yeah, but you're not going to put a truck on a credit card, right? So you need to finance it, and you can't go to a Toyota dealer and buy a truck. So commercial vehicles go through a different process. So equipment financing is another form. So if someone wants to buy equipment like a lawnmower for a landscaping company, commercial lawnmowers can be $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. And during your high season in the middle of the summer, you lose 2 machines. You need to get them. Well, you might not have the cash to do it as a business owner, right? Equipment financing is another major industry you can make money with. The other one is emergency funding. These are working capital, merchant cash advance. Businesses, small businesses get in financial trouble all the time. We're not judging them. It could be due to bad management. It could be due to lack of financial understanding, or it could be bad decisions, but they need money like today. Those are your rapid funding options, usually the most profitable ones. So those are the ones that we see a lot, right? Someone needs $50K, $40K, $30K, and those are the ones that usually pay you $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, depending on the size of the deal. The beauty for the business owner is that they get the capital usually within 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours. I've seen cases that we funded deals within the same day, but obviously I'm not talking about the extremes. Usually it's a 2-3 day process, and you get paid your cut of the commission usually within 7 days, right? Wasik, what's up from Michigan? Hey. Good to have you here, buddy. So these are just some of the funding options that you have access to. And there's a whole real estate, right? So as Warren Buffett says, when there's blood on the street, you invest. When everyone is talking about an investment, you don't invest, right? When everyone and their uncle is talking about buying a rental property or a new home, real investors do not really invest, right? Right now, what is happening in the real estate industry? Can anyone tell me what's happening in the real estate industry? Like first-time home buyers, there are a lot of, like we get them on the phone all the time, like they get their real estate license and now they don't even have any lease. There's no property to be sold, right? So this is when the real estate investors jump into the market and they want to buy ground up, multifamily, fix and flip, BRRRR method, like BRRRR, right? And Airbnb rentals, and things like that. All of these people, instead of you becoming a real estate investor, you can help them fund those deals without needing a real estate license, because you're not selling a primary residence. These are investment properties. So these are just some of the ways. I know I'm going like 1,000 miles an hour. I usually speak very fast. I grew up in New York, New Jersey area. So if I'm going too fast, ask me to slow down, all right? The goal is not for me to just saying whatever comes to my mind, but at least for me to be understood by you guys so you feel fulfilled at the end of this call. But let me go back to the person who asked this question. Yvonne, was it Bridget? Oh, Coco. Coco, let me know if it answered your question, okay? Wasik says, fear of missing out. Yes. I see a lot of ones. Yep. The Winning Circle says, do you provide the lender network? We do provide the lender network. In alternative lending industry, you can Google lenders, but a lot of the times you need to be in a certain lending volume for them to accept you. We solve that problem because our network funds millions of dollars a month, so there's no lender that we wouldn't really have access to. Like just literally today, we added another real estate lender. Their program primarily is focused on finding deals and giving it to our brokers. Wasik says, I work for an equipment company, and this is true. Appreciate it, Wasik. Yeah, so there's just so much equipment going on. Someone says, please slow down, Oz. I will, thank you. I know myself. I try to catch myself. McDaddy, could you explain clawbacks on commissions, Oz? Clawbacks exist only on some of the products, such as merchant cash advance, and it is usually within the first 30 days, meaning that underwriting approves a customer, you sell the customer, and you make the commission. If they completely fail payments, and then they default on their loan, you lose your commission. But unlike other industries, for example, we have people who've been in the insurance industry for years, and the clawbacks go as far as like a year. We don't have that. And the percentage of those fail, depending on the lender network that you go through, we deal with pretty strong lenders. Usually it's only like 2 to 3% of the total deals, which is like very, very small. That means if you fund 100 deals, you're going to get clawback on 3 of them. So it's not really a major concern, but it is a thing. Yeah, so thanks for asking that question. Bridget, what Bridget said, done for you. Let me go back to Bridget's question. If I missed it, I'm sorry. If you use the done for you setup method, will we just need to run ads at that point to get customers? That's ads is an option, or maybe you're a major networker, you go to events and you just generate leads. We have a lot of people like that. They're already connected. They know people, or you set up referral partnerships with accountants, bank managers, financial advisors, even salespeople, right? So people who sell stuff on the street, they are obviously doing sales, which used to be my job back in the day, door-to-door sales, right? So you're just asking them to become a referral partner. They send the leads to you, and then our team and our funding partners can do the funding for you. So it doesn't have to be just ads, but obviously ads, it gives you the predictability because it's like adding fuel to the fire. You turn it on, it spits out ads, and you turn it off, then it just dies. Like that's the ease of it. But yeah, so if you use a done for you setup, your job is to find people who need money, which is not that difficult. Nur Hayat, how will AI affect our industry? We're doing a lot of stuff with AI, honestly. So we have BLB Oracle, our own AI chatbot. So our members are educating themselves on different funding options and the business itself through Oracle. So as far as AI could over time automate some of the underwriting process, but I don't think it can replace the business loan broker because at the end of the day, people still buy from people that they like and trust, especially in alternative lending industry. The majority of the businesses have no idea what their options are. They really do not know, right? We see it every single day. They think that they're in a helpless situation. Then a loan broker communicates with them, gives them the options, like the options that I used to answer Coco's question on different funding options. So I can see AI helping us quite a bit. It's going to help with the marketing as well. So you're going to have a lot more marketing options that are driven by AI. That will help as well. So it's going to make it easier to determine who's actually in the market. We were recently talking to a company that has intent-based data, right? Meaning that, so even if they didn't opt in or they didn't talk to you, they're in the market looking for funding, and you can get access to that and have AI do like custom reach outs and things like that. I'm very hopeful about what the AI does, because don't forget that AI potentially, I don't think it can wipe out the lending industry. It's going to wipe out other industries where with us, we're selling money, and that a lot of that is being sold to small businesses. Francis, can we broker loans for ourselves or our own businesses? Yeah, you can certainly do that. It's not different than, obviously, you're not going to make a commission from your own deals. You're funding yourself. But yeah, so many of our members, when they first join BLB, they take advantage of like the startup funding, 0% interest funding, basically. So what startup funding is, big banks like Bank of America, Chase, American Express, they have credit cards with 0% interest. It's an introductory rate for the next 12 months, 24 months. And then you can send your credit report to our funding department, and they can tell you how much you qualify for, and then you can get funding based on that if you want to do that. But yeah, certainly that's an option. Lee Edward, great question, buddy. Is the amount you earn as a commission are paid based on the amount of the loan funded? Yes, but there's more. Yeah, so usually your commission is a percentage of the funded amount, right? But how much the commission, how much commission you get paid, the percentage depends on the funding product. For example, if you take an SBA loan, government-backed loan, usually the funding amounts are much larger because you're dealing with established businesses. So you can be funding, $300,000, and on a deal like that, you're making 1 point, right? So on a $300,000, 1 point is $3,000. Whereas if you're offering a funding option, which is one of those emergency fast funding options, then you're making 8 to 10 points. So on $50,000, you can be making $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. Mega Grace TV, can we have the recording? This is going to be recording, I think, published within the YouTube channel, but I haven't looked into how to do that. Again, I haven't done it in a year and a half, but yeah, we'll probably publish it, and I'll do more of this because honestly, I wasn't expecting these many questions and these many people attending. Dwayne, what kind of marketing is included? Online and offline marketing. So we show you, pretty much we provide you the flyers that you can print out, business card templates if you're an in-person event type of person. That's how I first started out. Like I was doing some online marketing, but I wanted to get some kind of feedback from the small businesses to understand what they go through, what kind of funding they need. So a lot of the Chamber of Commerce meetings, like if you go to, we have people from all over the United States. If you go to your local Chamber of Commerce, I can almost virtually guarantee you that there is no business loan broker there, right? I can guarantee you that there's an insurance broker, there's a real estate person, there's a small business, there's a fire alarm company, there's a construction company, there's a painting company, there's a roofing company, there's a plumber, but small business loan broker is not there, right? So you can take advantage of those opportunities, which is completely free. We have training on generating leads through LinkedIn marketing, Facebook, paid advertising, organic Facebook, like through Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups. There's so many different marketing avenues. We actually have like Marketing Monday calls. So we have a gentleman whose name is Voltaire. He worked with huge marketing companies, like ran seven-figure paid advertising campaigns. He does live calls on a weekly basis to answer any type of marketing question. So BLB is not a course. You have content library, but on a given week, we have 5 to 7 live ongoing calls that you have when you join. So you can educate yourself based on the live calls or the pre-recorded content library, or we have live events. We have a live in-person event coming up in Orlando in May. There's so many different ways that you can learn because as human beings, we have different learning modalities, right? I have people who joined BLB a year ago. They haven't done much, and we met at a live event. It was their turning point. They go back and they started funding deals. That's just, how some people operate. Whereas others, they want to be left alone, go through the content portal, they take action. We have a support team that handles any kind of questions that you guys have. Massive Facebook community. I think we also have a couple of people who are already here from our community. Lee says, thank you for your response, Oz. My pleasure. Yeah, I'm here for this. Dwayne says, yes, they're all there. What about CRM? Dwayne, yeah, we do provide a CRM. So it comes with the website and the CRM. So anyone who goes to your website, fills out a lead, they become a lead, fill out a lead form, it's in your CRM system. So in the CRM system, you have access to your email marketing, text message marketing. But guys, hey, I want to be honest with the CRM part of that. I don't want that to be a confusion factor, because until you get your business to like 10, 15K, you don't really need a CRM, okay? CRM looks glamorous, like, oh yeah, if I can put automations, I can do this and do that. But that's overkill for many people. The first couple of deals that you're gonna get are usually from people that you know, right? So if you never use CRM, if you don't even know what it is, it could be early, because we provide it because it's going to be needed at some point, because we want our members to make 15, 20, 30, 40, 50K. And at that point, you need a system to track the leads. You need automations in place. But so we also have a lot of people who do this on the side. Like they join, they fund a deal, they disappear for a couple of months, and they come back and they find another deal. So there's no shame in doing that, because this could be supplemental income, right? However, like I said earlier, is the plan that you follow, will you help you get there, right? So I'm all about taking shortcuts. That's why we're Like that BLB is all I do every single day because we want our people to fund deals through us, through our lending partners, but also more importantly, close the knowledge gap, right? So understand what each product does, and getting access to a community of people, like-minded people who are going after funding deals and talking to customers every day is non-existent, because where are you going to find those people, right? Ronell, what regulatory certifications do we need to have? Ronell, this is an ongoing topic. Ever since I started in the alternative lending industry, there's this talk of regulation come in. During the Biden administration, they established a board basically to bring regulation. That board recently got fired by President Trump, so we don't know what's going to happen with that. But so far, in certain states, lenders are required to be certified. But as of now, no business loan brokers need to have any license to offer services. California is the first one trying to have some kind of licensing requirement, but it's not been completed. And honestly, at some point as the industry grows, that will happen. That's similar to how it happened for real estate agents, insurance agents, and things like that. You reach a certain threshold that you need to be regulated, and it just clears bad players from the game. But we're the largest training organization in the United States. So if that happens, we're going to get our members ready for licensing and whatnot, because we're in a position to provide that kind of training. Marie, hey, Marie says, Oz, I already purchased the program, but I have not yet started using the program. Can you please talk again about the getting started process? Marie, it is important that you go through our onboarding process. So we have our lovely Emily and Samantha and Isabel. So they jump on the call with you to do a walkthrough, and it's a goal setting session, right? We try to help you understand, because everyone, like I said, comes with different goals. Some people have a goal of quitting their job in the next 90 days. Some people already have 5 businesses. They're adding this to be the 6th business. Some people want to build something automated, so they're more like the operator, right? So they want to be behind the scenes. They want to hire staff and grow the business that way. So on the onboarding call, we help you understand what your goals are, and based on that, we provide you a customized roadmap. Basically, just follow this and follow that. And then that's a great starting point, because that happens, right? We make decisions, we join, but you are continuing your education. You joined tonight. Congratulations. I would definitely go back. If you email support@Business Lending Blueprint and tell them that, hey, you were on the live call with Oz on YouTube, so they can send you a link so you can book your onboarding process if you haven't done so already. And if you've done it a long time ago and you want a refresher, definitely go for it again. Zupong, I'm sorry, I don't have your real name, so I'm going off of your nickname here, your lies. At what point in the process is the typical handoff? You decide that. So earlier in the call, I talked about the cash flow quadrants. Like the first quadrant is you just hand off name, phone number, and email of an interested party. Someone says, hey, Zupong, I'm interested in getting funding. Who can help me, right? And then you hand that off. That could be the handoff point. Or the next quadrant next to that is partner and earn, meaning that the same person, you tell the person, no problem, I want to get some offers on the table for you. What you can provide is, can you provide me 4 months of bank statements so I can just send it over to our underwriter, get an offer on the table. So that's your handoff point. You send it over to either our underwriting department or one of our lending partners, depending on the product. And from that point on, they can reach out to your customer, close the deal, pay you. Or the third quadrant is the same person, you have their contact information, you have their 3 months of bank statements, and we underwrite the deal, or one of the lenders underwrite the deal, right? Because we give you access to so many different lenders. And then you take the offer back to the customer, close it, and our lenders or our company funds them. So that's the handoff. So that's why it's very robust system based on how you want to do that. So you're in control of that. Dwayne Price. Dwayne, we have different options to join Business Lending Blueprint. So if anyone is interested in talking to our team, again, I'm not here to have you guys join Business Lending Blueprint on this call, but if give me a 1 if you're interested in scheduling a call and seeing an actual demo of Business Lending Blueprint and talk about different options to join Business Lending Blueprint at this stage, because we're like 50 minutes in, and I know some people are asking for the next steps. If that's the case, I'm going to put a link in the chat so that those who want to have a conversation with our team immediately can do that. So let me just pull the link. Here, I'm going to put it in the chat. So I see a bunch of 1s. I highly suggest you do that. So it's not, it's not a high pressure call. It's for you to understand, is this in line with what you're trying to accomplish? Can you guys see the link that I posted in the chat, guys? Can someone give me a yes? Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely use that link. We usually operate on a full calendar. So if you're serious about this, book it right away. So I think we have a couple of availabilities for tomorrow and Thursday. This hopefully gave you a head start on your research and understanding the industry. So that's very, very important. Lee has another question. Oz, did you say the alternative financing be used to purchase real estate? And if so, is it only for business real estate or can it be used for personal real estate? Lee, good question. This is your third great question, by the way. I don't know if you planned this or not. So the only type of real estate we don't do is if someone is buying a personal property for themselves. Anything investment related, whether that's a house, it could be like a multifamily home, or it could be a business, it could be a storage unit. Yeah, we do have real estate lenders, like direct lenders. They can go to and get those deals funded. But if you are buying a house for yourself, like a primary residence, that requires a real estate license to sell. So we don't touch that. I mean, there's a huge market for that anyways. I was reading a research the other day. There are 3 million real estate agents in the United States, and the number of houses sold in 2004 was 3 million. It's like 101. Talk about saturation. That's crazy. And obviously, real estate industry is going through major lawsuits when it comes to their commission split, and also to slow down because of the interest rates. Cool. Yeah, I'm seeing 15 yeses. You guys can see the link. Normally, we put people through filling out a survey before they book it. I sent you directly to the booking link because if you're here with me, you're hearing from me and I'm answering your questions. I'm not cherry picking questions. If I missed your question, I do apologize. So I am trying to follow the chat. If I missed anything, just retype your question. I am just scrolling back up. Cool. All right, guys, so we're pushing the hour limit. Do you have any other questions? But before that, can you guys give me a yes if this has been beneficial? Again, my intention is to answer your questions. So hopefully you are walking away with stuff that you might not have known, or maybe a lot of you were already looking into Business Lending Blueprint or the lending industry, and you had a couple of hanging questions in your mind. So give me a yes if this has been helpful and if I were able to provide information to you guys. The winning circle says, very beneficial. Brent Oliver says, which license are available for BLB? No license. Income streaming says yes. Ronald says yes. Lee says, once again, thank you so much. Aaron says yes. Ron, yes, very helpful. Great. What about AI effect? I already answered that question on the AI, Nurhayat. So it's going to affect underwriting probably, and it's going to make lead generation way easier. Mega Grace, I joined late and missed a lot. I'm sorry to hear that. So yeah, you can probably watch the replay. Cool, guys. So thanks for joining. I appreciate all of you guys. If you make the decision to join BLB, definitely hit me up. Send me an email. My email is oz@businesslendingblueprint.com, so I can personally congratulate you. We also mail you a big poster, what I call the flow chart, which is basically 7 success frameworks printed on a poster. So many people, I have it on my wall right here. So many people actually put it on their wall. It constantly reminds them of how to succeed in this business, because subconsciously, whatever is at our eye level is super important. It reminds us, so that way we don't, make a decision or make an investment and kind of forget about it. So we mail out a poster, so you get it. And I also personally send you a gift card and a welcome card to welcome you, because each member is very important, because we know that we're making a huge impact by helping them learn about financial literacy, credit, and lending. What gets you in trouble it usually is the lack of information on how credit and lending works, right? So look at the banks. They're the richest companies in the world. There's a reason, because they understand how money moves. So in 2025, this is your opportunity to understand how lending and credit works. Don't just use it as a consumer, getting credit cards and using credit cards or getting a loan. Flip the game on the banks and start using it as a way to transform your financial future, All right, everyone. With that said, thanks for joining tonight. Hope to see you in another video. If you enjoy this, please like and subscribe to our channel so you get notifications when I do live gatherings like this. It's very important. That's how I know whether you enjoy the content or not. Please don't forget to do that. With that, have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your day.